Hello everyone, in this video I am showing you how to hem a circle skirt made from delicate fabrics. First on mid-weight Georgette and then on lightweight silk chiffon. You'll see two machine sewing demonstrations, and before we get to those, we'll talk about which techniques work best for different types of lightweight or sheer fabric, along with tips for getting a super clean edge. If you ever struggle with baby hem, fraying or uneven curves, this will really help. This clip comes from one of our live Q&A sessions inside Draping Society, my private teaching community where members bring their sewing, draping, construction questions or fit issues with their garment, and I walk them through solutions in real time. Each week, we dive into whatever they need help with. Sometimes it's pattern making, sometimes finishing, and in this session, the question was about hemming options for circle skirts with delicate fabrics. We'll start by going over finishing options and what to keep in mind before you get to the machine. Let's get started. This is muslin, right? But I wanted to give it a try. Like this type, do you see this? Like kind of this finish, and in this side, it looks like right that. This is especially nice if you are working with, if you want to give a little body at the bottom of this, right? If you want to give little body at the bottom of this, this is one way to do it. And I did try baby hem in that much. This is even less than 1/8, and it is very, very, very thin. Do you see that? So, but again, this 1/8 very thin ones are not perfect for the fabrics like cotton or this kind of fabrics that has body. Burning is very dangerous. No, you can totally ruin your dress, your fabric. And by the way, it depends on what kind of, if you are thinking about burning edge of the polyester, that's going to turn black. It's going to turn dark. It's going to turn dark in the cotton as well. It's going to turn into like seriously like a paper burn. And with the silk, it might not turn black. I don't know, because it doesn't have, it's a natural whatever. But I never done it. No. And don't use adhesive as well. That's not gonna work. I mean, it might seal the fraying a tiny bit, but if you are going to do tons, I don't know. Either you have to make peace with the idea of having frayed edge, if you are especially using silk, chiffon, or any type or organza, okay? That's the only, or tulle. Tulle is easy, you know, that's why people are using tulles a lot during those kind of skirts, right? First of all, it's cheaper. Second, it still looks very dreamy and nice and weightless. And most importantly, it doesn't have the, it's not going to put you through the pain of cleaning the edge. Could you do rolled hem like on the edge of scarves? Rolled hems are usually done best when you are doing it by hand, right? Especially with the chiffon. And believe me, that's why those silk scarves are very expensive, because those are hand sewn. I love buying scarves from Alexander McQueen, and I like the chiffon ones. Those are very lightweight, and I do love the designs of it, and they're all hand rolled and sewn, right? Rolled hem with the machine is serger is actually the good one, right? But with the scarves, like for scarves, you don't want to do it with the machine. For if you are doing tons of layers of skirt, yes, that works there. But even when you are doing it with the machine, don't think it's going to turn into like very nicely. I remember that I made a wedding dress for one girl. This is my first wedding dress. I have done it, and she wanted like 10 layers of the chiffon skirt, and it had to be like different length and the kind of gradient from like white to blue. I know, like my first wedding dress that I took I took like an order from one person, and I was so excited that I'm getting my first order, but actually the whole work was really hard, and I was fresh out of the school. Not out of school, I still worked, but I was kind of fresh, and I had to take all my full circle skirts to a place that had this nice, like a serious machine for that, right? Not with my sewing machine and my 4-thread serger machine at home. I had to take it to some place to do the clean edges for me. Yes, I like the roll hem, by the way, on chiffons if it's done with the right machine. And it has to be nicely done with the nice machine, nice needle, nice thread. Especially it's going to be visible. I did 2 different finishings. I did here as rolled, not a rolled hem, it's a baby hem. And in this side, I kind of did this, which I am going to show you this one as well. This is a little different. It looks like I actually kind of rolled it. It's kind of did it, but not the way that it looks, because it has 2 seams, 2 stitching. If you can see it, I don't know. It has 2 rows of stitching. One row is very close to the edge, like in this side. If you can see it, I don't know. It is very close to the edge, and the other one is about 0.5 centimeters away from it. Do you see that? So these are especially nice when you are doing some kind of a sporty look edges, and especially with the different type of fabrics. These cottons, actually they look really nice on the cotton or poplin, or you know, it gives extra little what do I say, volume to it, right? This one has less volume and it's thinner and softer, but if you kind of like to give that kind of edge to the sleeve or anything, to the skirt or anything that has a flounce, but you want this is nice. I kind of like this, especially if I'm gonna do something sporty, and depends on the different type of fabrics. But if I want to give that little sporty look, this is a good stitching. I have the contrasting color on it already. So one thing that I need to basically talk about it, I don't know if they talk about this. The decision of choosing the foot and the needle is very important. To do as slimmest as possible. Okay, so let me just go bring some of my needles out here. So this is 16, this is large one. Oh no, not 16, 70, 80, 65. So this is the thinnest one, which is, I think, is perfect for the silks. If I'm taking them out, I can see the difference. So yes, this is longer and definitely thinner. I am gonna go with that. Okay, so I do have, yes, 80-12, 70-10, and 65-9. I actually have thicker ones as well, which I use it for the jeans or canvases and stuff like that. And yes, I do have 14. I need to change, so for the foot with this type of a sewing machine, right? I do not recommend this one because this one is super thick. Do you see this, you know, width? This one is like super thick. You want to, this is like a walking foot. You don't want that. definitely not. And this one is okay, but again, since I do sew at the edge, very close to the edge, even this one can be a little thick. This is 1/8, by the way. Okay, so not even this one. I usually use this type of a very close edge ones. This is not in this side though. I use it on the other side. And because this is where I put the fold in, right? Like when I am folding this one in here, I do not use it in this side, right? So the needle should be on the other side, that I can go as close as possible to the edge. That's why I do have, let me just take this and show it to you. So I am using this one, which is on the right. There is a hole, like right little curved edge opening, and I'm going to change my needle to a very thin one. Let me see if this is the no, this is not as thin as the other one. That's good. Yeah, this one that I'm using is little thinner. This is what I have done with the needle and with the foot. Now I bring my stitch length to, which I usually keep it at 2.5, right? I bring it to 1 or 1.5. I usually go very small, right? So that's a lot of, maybe I just do it a little bit. So now you can either have your own, like a little, when you're cutting, so you are gonna cut with the seam allowance on, right? So like adding the, look at that, how awful it is. But if you're cutting chiffon or like Georgette and stuff, just know that the edges are so hard to be very clean when you're cutting, and especially when you are doing the circle. So yes, use the blade. And now you can have, if you really are concerned about to know where to exactly you should where you should fold, I usually decide with my eyes. I mean, I'm kind of folding it about 1 centimeters. Gonna put the very close edge, and I'm gonna lock this just in case. Okay, you need to have little bit out so I can hold it, so you can hold it. So for the few stitches at the first, you have to go very slowly and kind of try to pull this at the back, and once it is out, you're kind of safe. Okay, now I am safe. Now one thing with it is very kind of crucial, because this is like circle at the edge. When you kind of do this, this is kind of doesn't go at 1 centimeter. You have to like, right? Seriously, it is really important to fold only about 1 centimeter or 2 centimeters away from your needle. Do not fold it from here, like down from right here. You need to fold it very close to the foot. As much as you are closer to the foot, it is going to be much easier to be able to fold around the curve. So don't even try to pin it or anything. If you have to, just have your some kind of a marking with your chalk or anything. That's so if you do not want to make mistakes about making it larger or smaller at your seam allowance, but do not pin, because pin is not going to work. As you see, I'm going to just go closer to the edge and pull this at the back. But don't forget, you don't want to stretch it too much. Just You want to stretch to some degree, but not stretching it too much, because when you stretch it too much, especially around the bias, it's gonna curve. It's gonna curve very badly, and sometimes it is a style, right? That's another thing. If you want a kind of like a very curved edge of baby hems, that's another way to do it, especially nices with the chiffon and very thin fabrics. And in that case, you actually really try to make the stitches very small, and you want to pull it. You want to pull it and curve it. But now we are fine. Just gonna go very close to the edge and fold it only at the very close distance from your foot, not all the way from away from that, just very close to your foot. You fold it and then manage the fold again, because around the curve it wants to fold more or very less, so you want to kind of control that. So all of those things that I told you, that choosing the right needle, right foot, very small stitching length to the point is like 1 or even less, is actually make it look nicer. These are all kind of, well, as you see, curves are not that much different than doing it straight when you are sewing it so close to the edge. It's just scarier when you want to roll it or fold it in a larger, like if you want to roll it in like a 1/2 centimeter, that's where it's going to make it a little harder, not at the very, very, very close edge. I'm like, should I go all the way, because this is like tons of sewing. Yeah, this is for the teaching, that's why I'm using the white thread. But when you do it with the same color, it's going to be nice. It's so much nicer than roll hems, in my opinion, especially for the areas that is visible. I mean, roll hems, I don't have anything against it, especially if it's done with the Mero machine, but Mero machine are industrial, very expensive machines. That's why I usually take them to the places that they have Mero machine. So when you are going to, like for example, if you do have a bride asking you to do tons of different circles with the clean finishes, and she's not paying for that you do this type of a, you know, hem. Actually, Mero machine are doing a very nice edges for the rolled hem. Those are the machines that only does that job, are perfect. Don't buy Mero machine, even if, you know, they're expensive anyway. But there are places, services that they do just edge finishing for the chiffons or like tools and stuff like that with the Mero machine. Okay, we are close to the edge, finally, to this part. Yeah. Oh god, I really hated doing this with the contrasting color. Definitely press it down with your iron before you start cutting. Don't, you know, it's hard, but I enjoy it. I'm just little scared that I'm gonna mess it up in front of you guys. Okay, so this is how I ironed it. I opened it up, right? Some people do the other way, like they actually press it this way, right, and then cut it. But for some reason I felt like this cutting this way is much easier. So this is the edge, right? And I kind of felt like actually opening this up, because I did it before and it was easier on the different type of fabric, of course, but I'm doing it this time, first time on the Georgette. I open it up like this and then pressed it. For some reason, I think this might be much easier for cutting the edge. And one more thing that I kind of wanted to explore, to do rolled hem of this way. Like, I'm gonna do this few samples for myself and see if it works. Then I'm gonna show you guys. Like, do you see when you have a very edge stitch in here, and if you had little larger, this one, this is like 1 centimeters, but what if you have like tiny bit, not two, maybe 1 centimeters and 3 millimeters, okay? And if you have a really good hands, you can maybe roll this, right? And kind of like do this and then stitch it. It's kind of gonna give you close look to covering it with the bias tape. I can, you know, I can go crazy, but I'm gonna try that at some point. And don't take this one, don't look at this area, this is awful. So I'm just gonna have my scissor with me and my glasses on. And of course the scissor has to be small and it has to be curved. And the curve always have to be towards the out of your here, okay? Don't use this side, that's gonna cut your seam. You don't want to do that. You just want to go there and start cutting. Do you see? It's gonna make it so much easier because it's already pressed. Open, and it is going to make it easier. So I'm gonna just cut this close. Do you see how close I get? And I am rushing a little bit. You do not rush when you are doing this with this type of fabrics. And I'm not just rushing. I do have my sound attached to me. I am talking too much, which actually not helping me with my concentration, right? And I'm sweating because I have my nice clothes on in front of camera. When I'm working on myself, I seriously in my shorts, tights, or like beat up t-shirts, and I have my hair up, I clean all my makeup because I touch my face sometimes and I'm so scared to make my fabrics dirty. So being on camera and talking non-stop is not gonna give you a very clean, nice results. And so I'm gonna just shut up at some point so I can cut this one faster. Do you see in some areas are not super close to the edge just because I was little rushing. It is supposed to be super close to the edge. But when it's really close to, when it's the same color with your fabric, it makes it very nice. You want to go and press this area one more time to from the top before we start like rolling. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Back to the machine and gonna take a look, and from 1, that was my stitch length, I'm gonna bring that even lower. I'm going to bring it to 1/2. Okay, so this means it's even going to be thinner now. I'm gonna bring the other edge of this and put it right here. I am going to fold it, but I'm not gonna bypass this area because it's just going to make it harder. And kind of, okay, so fold this at the very, very, very close edge, okay, and put it down and press the foot down, and then put your needle in to the very, very edge. And now this is the where it really gets tricky. You do not want to fold it all the way here. You want to fold it very close to the foot, and you actually want to stretch it. When you stretch it, it will fold very thin. Just gonna go lock this one little, okay, and then going to start pulling it from the back and go forward. And it needs to be super small fold, and if you can stitch at the same area that you have your, you know, previous stitch, that's gonna make it very nice, especially from the front face. It's going to be way nicer if you do it on the same color. So yep, gonna make it very thin. You test a little pieces before you actually do it on your, do you know what you test? You're gonna take a look and see if you like the how thin and how close stitches are. Make it super thin. You need to get close to the edge. And when you stretch it a little bit, not too much, obviously, to the amount that it actually folds easily. When you stretch it, it's going to fold easily. It's kind of gives you a very, very close edge. The smallest it can go is usually habitai, chiffon, like especially the silk chiffon, and silk charmeuse, but not the heavy one, not the double-sided. Crepe, no, because the crepe and the Georgette are still gets very nice, don't get me wrong, it can get very nice, the crepe, but crepe and the Georgette has the same weave. They can get, actually, it's really, really hard to rip like thick like Georgette, like this is midweight Georgette, and or the crepe. It's harder to rip than, for example, silk charmeuse combat. And is this silk? It is still Georgette, but it is a very lightweight. Contrasting color, but I want to show you how it can get thin. Like with the chiffon and thin fabrics, it can get so much nicer. This one has a very nice stitching. I can even see it how close I can get to the edge. So definitely test the fabric that you are going to do this type of. When you're thinking about the finishing, think about to test some edges before you do that. So I'm not even going to iron it for now because I just wanted to see how it works. Wow. Gonna kind of I don't know if you can see the details, guys, but this is like it's super thin, super lightweight. And this is a contrasted color, of course, so you can see all the details of the stitching. I'm gonna press this one, come back to like the other one, and then compare. Now I'm going to do this one before that. So I pressed it. Now I'm going to fold this and do this is super thin one, right? I'm going to just fold this at here. Okay. Bring my needle down. Fold this as close as possible. Okay. And see, this is as close as possible. So, and when I stretch it, it's going to fold very thin. This is nice when you are doing the edge of the anything that is close to your body and is close to the eyes, like sleeve, neckline, sleeve, anything that is around the close to the eyesight, right? This out of, so that's kind of gives the very nice look, because it shows like very clean edge. And this is white on very dark blue. Can you imagine if it's like dark, actually in the same color? Like the amount of thin, look, it's not even pressed yet. Look at this. Do you see how nice it is? And imagine this is the same color with the fabric. I told you this is gonna be way nicer on a thinner fabric. it wants thinner fabric. It doesn't want thick fabrics. This type of a stitch, this type of the edge wants the really thin fabric. So the other one wasn't as suitable as this one. That's why it didn't give me enough thinness that I wanted to. I'm going to press this and come back. I'll come back now. It's right here. So it kind of gave me this look. Do you see? It is not bad. It is definitely not bad, right? It's pretty thin still. It's not as thin as I want it to, but it is pretty thin. Do you see that? And this is the contrasting color. In the same color, it's not going to be even a problem at all. And yeah, it's pretty good, right? Like in some areas it gets little thick because it's little not thick still, but you know, because I want to show you this one. Where is it? Look at this. Like, do you see how thin it is? This is the back side and this is the face, and this is with the super sheer fabric, and it shows all my mistakes because it's a contrasting color, areas that are not straight, but with the same color thread it will show serious to nothing because the stitch length is so short. It is so small. It's really small. That's why it's not going to show anything, and it's going to look gorgeous. It's going to look gorgeous. And as I told you, it's so much nicer on a thinner fabric and lightweight fabric with this type of stitching. And I can seriously see the difference in little thicker. When it gets little thicker, where is it? Yeah, it's not, still is not bad. I have to be honest. Where is that? Okay, it's not bad, but the amount of thinness and the light, you know, the back is not bad at all. But this one is way thinner and way lightweight, and this one has a little, I can feel the little thickness at the edge, but in here it's like lightweight. It's so it does not have any weight at all, and I can see the folds in here. In here it's not showing anything. Guys, this is gorgeous. I wish I did that in the blue, but I don't know if you can see it very, I don't know if you can see that very close. Hopefully the camera shows it as close as I want it to. Yeah, this is how we use this stitching.